Four Knights of the Apocalypse chapter 234 is officially out, and this chapter confirmed a bunch of theories from the previous chapter, giving up some real face reveals, as well as a few more questions that have to be answered that make me curious for what this current arc is going to be all about. Also, confirmation that a particular member of the Apocalypse is going to be a parent pretty soon, so that's some crazy plot twists, I guess, and drops, so yeah, we'll get right into that in just a second. But before we jump into things, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. It really helps, and it shows you guys enjoy the content I make here on the channel, and it shows you want to see more. And if you weren't aware, the day the chapter came out, as I'm recording this, I also posted a discussion video on a theory that many in the fanbase have had over the last week. So I did not read the chapter before that was posted, and I am pretty happy with that video, especially with how this chapter turns out. So if you haven't already, go and check out that video as well. I'm going to try and do more like that in between chapters, so look forward to more videos like that in the future. And if you want to see more of me outside this channel, don't forget to check out my second channel, GW Comics, where I talk about comic books. DC is my main focus right now, but obviously I will branch out to more. Link to that will be in the description down below and in the title card. It's a passion project, and I really appreciate it if you guys go and check it out whenever you get the chance. Now then, let's jump right into this chapter. Chapter 234 of Four Knights of the Apocalypse, titled Knights of the Grail. Continuing from last chapter with the confrontation with the Knights of the Holy Grail and Lancelot being cut. We actually got, for the cover image, a whole shot showcasing where all of the characters currently are at, with Gawain hovering up top, right above Tristan, with them in the middle, Lancelot facing against the guy with the Oni mask, Percival off on the side, and the other three knights are also off on the side. So we begin proper with the Oni masked knight getting ready to launch another attack, with Lancelot wiping the blood from his cheek, as Gawain and Tristan are incredibly confused and also super shocked that someone actually managed to land a cut on Lancelot, and that should never happen, once again emphasizing the strength of this particular knight. Now, the Oni masked knight begins to say that, oh, your name is Lancelot. Stooping low enough to steal the man's name too? How brazen can someone even be? But this just makes Lancelot intrigued, but also kind of pissed off, as he literally does basically his version of Conqueror's hockey, just flaring up his magical energy, his near limitless magic power, to the point where it shocks and stutters the four knights that are currently still conscious and are able to move. This gets their guard up and gets them a bit tense. But the tension of the scene is broken, with Percival beginning to laugh like a madman, and looking over, he is just, in a goofy art style obviously, just wallowing around, bouncing back and forth, saying how exciting everything is out of nowhere. It's like my whole body is spinning, and Percival just collapses on the ground. As this shocks everybody, but Lancelot takes this as an opportunity, as that was good timing. He instantly goes into zero sign to erase his presence to the point where no one can see him, and he yells to Gawain and Tristan to grab Percival so they can get the hell out of there and regroup. The knight that was fighting Percival tries to deal a finishing blow, but Gawain then hovers up Percival with a levitation spell, yelling to Tristan to just fly off at full speed, as the two of them rocket away with Percival being carried by Gawain. They go away, and they're out of sight of these other knights. They are in awe at the speed that they took off at, with the knight with the bird-esque helmet saying, "Goddess wings like me," and the sorcerer says, "I could pursue them still, if only barely." The Oni masked knight says, "No need to force it, we've taken a few hits too as well," obviously referring to everybody else. But he says that the next time we meet, we will carry out our mission, as he sheathes his blade. We then go over to a good distance away to a floating rock formation with a house underneath, one of the rubbles of the Kingdom of Camelot, where Gawain and Tristan regroup with Percival. As looks like they lost him, they wonder what happened to Lancelot, if they left him behind since he just disappeared like that, but Lancelot undoes his zero sign as he shows that he was following them the entire time, telling them not to worry, shocking the three of them. Honestly, he's being very Batman right now, literally just disappearing out of nowhere the second someone turns around, and then once his name is brought up, poof, he's there. I like that Lancelot knows zero sign. This is going to make for not only some great epic saving moments and just jump scares for his opponents, but also, like this, pretty perfect comedic tension breaking. But now that they've regrouped, Lancelot's asking for what's going on with Percival, as right now he's out like a light, still gripping onto his sword. They look at the cut on his hand and begin to realize that he was poisoned somehow. So Tristan ends up using his purifying star to purify Percival's body of this powerful poison. Percival gets up and yawns after taking a nice nap. Tristan offers to heal Lancelot's scar, but Lancelot's like, yeah, don't worry about it, just a bit of spit and I'll be perfectly fine, it's just a cut. But Gawain brings up the obvious question, who are those guys? They didn't seem like Arthur's holy knights at all to her, as now the group is wondering what exactly the situation is, thinking about all 5 of these knights. And I like the detail that the archer in the hat is translucent with their ability to hide their magical presence, making them practically invisible. Also, I said this in my previous video, I'm sorry, I completely forgot of the literal countless characters that are able to literally mask their magical presence the way this character is doing. I'm a dumb idiot, and I am very sorry. I'm supposed to be the guy that has a lot of knowledge on this series, and I forgot something so incredibly basic. So please don't crucify me in the comments again. I'm so sorry, please. Please, I am so sorry. I'll be more careful next time. But anyway, we get a shot of all 5 of these knights as they refer to themselves as the Knights of the Grail, and the 4 knights have never heard of these characters before, and Tristan begins to think that they are maybe just some sort of group of assassins to take the 4 Perils' place. But Gawain obviously flares up saying, well, these aren't just your basic everyday replacements or assassins, they were able to literally hurt this monster right here. And I like Lancelot just got out to be like, don't call me a monster, Gawain, come on. And I just love that everyone knows how strong Lancelot is, that even Gawain can just say that he's an unbridled monster in terms of strength and power, so that's always nice to hear. But Percival brings up the fact that they talked about making the deformed right again and wonder what that could potentially mean. I said this in my previous video that it's very possible that it could be referring to the distortions and the warping of the power of chaos that Cath did, and perhaps them being the Knights of the Holy Grail, they want to find the Holy Grail to kind of repair the destruction and just warping nature that happened to the world that chaos brought about without Arthur having it fall under his control at this point. That's a strong possibility. Tristan also brings up the fact, hey, what if there were other 4 Knights of the Apocalypse before us? But Gawain brings up the obvious, you do know that if that was a thing, we probably would have heard about it beforehand, right? But Lancelot says they hid their faces, but even he was kind of unnerved by them, wondering if they've met them somewhere before, obviously referring to some of these similarities and sense of familiarity they had with them. Gawain tries to poke fun at Tristan, saying, hey, one of them had a pair of goddess wings out. Ring any bells to you at all, little prince? Tristan saying, I could ask the same of you, Gawain. What do you think of that masked sorcerer? And so the two begin to butt heads, with Gawain saying that, do you really think I would associate with such a bozo of a magician that could have their magic deflected by Tristan so easily? And Tristan says, I've had no contacts with anyone else in the goddess clan, so I could have no idea who this person is. As Lancelot is looking over and notices Percival's kind of troubled. And this is where the beginning of the confirmation of the theories in my previous video begins to literally take shape. Because Percival brings up the fact that the knight that he fought used a style that was the exact same, an exact copy of An's, which concerns Gawain, and Tristan's like, oh dear God, no. And Percival even brings up that the arrows that were launched at him with the poison, it was something called fortune weed, and it only grows in the Fairy King's forest, and that Nazianz always keeps a supply at hand, and that it's supposed to be good for nutrition and stuff, as Percival has teary eyes in his face and gets all mopey. And honestly, Gawain plays a pretty fun part in this chapter, says, what did you do to make these two hate you so much? I will pound your ass in. As she gets all buff, ready to defend An and Nazianz's honor in that instance, as Percival's like, wait, no. I did not do anything whatsoever. This could also be a bit of residuals of Gawain simping for Nazian and An previously, but that could be something else. But Tristan brings up the fact, wait, what if this was probably Rosebanks? She is the prime suspect. As Tristan tries to act all calm and cool with the whole gossip of the fact that Percival just straight up rejected Rosebanks' confessions of love, as he says, hell hath no fury like a woman's rage, basically, as that's what Hauser says. If anybody knows what it's like to anger women, it's Hauser. And so Tristan begins to say, I bet she rounded up all her old pals to get revenge on you, Percival, as then Gawain flares up and creates a literal firestorm, burning half of Tristan's body, as she says, then how are you going to explain their strength, huh? You really think bums like those could actually train enough to deal any damage to us or reach our level? As Tristan's like, wow, you're arrogant. But I also love that Gawain finds this as like a little insult to her, but not just her, to the rest of the group, being like, do you really think that in such a short time, those bumps that we took out previously could reach our level, and for such petty reasons? Gawain is making a lot of sense here, and I'm liking that she's shutting down literally everybody else's whole idea of who these knights could be. It is legit comedic relief in this moment with the four knights just bouncing off of each other, as this does fully confirm one thing. They have basically like a sibling dynamic at this point, and I'm just loving that we're having all four of these knights just solo by themselves together. This is something that I've wanted since they came together almost 200 chapters ago, and I'm getting this here, and I'm sure the rest of the fanbase can agree that Nakaba is doing a really good job with having the four knights just be a close group of friends at this point. Sibling dynamics or whatever, they're bouncing off of each other very naturally, and their reactions to what they're saying is honestly really fun and makes sense for each of their individual characters. I know I'm going off on a tangent here, but this is something I just want to establish once again, because this is something I've wanted since all four knights came together back in Leonis at the very start of the series, back in part 1, and now we have what we always wanted, and Nakaba's delivering on it, and I'm very happy with it. But back to the chapter, Percival obviously asks Lancelot what he thinks. Lancelot says that this is just a guess, but what if they're just doppelgangers created by Camelot, and that would explain why they're accusing us of being fakers. Tristan instantly thinks, okay, that must be it. That does make some sort of sense. Perhaps some twisted sense of revenge against us, the four knights. Even Gawain's like, pretty sharp thinking. That does make sense. Until Percival brings out the obvious, surprisingly enough, saying, okay, but there were 5 of them, not 4. How do you explain that? How could they be doppelgangers? As Lancelot just lashes out at Percival, saying, dude, that was just a guess. Do not poke holes in my theory. I'm the smarter one in this group. Again, just love the dynamic that this group has now, and I just want the rest of this for another like maybe 50 to 100 chapters of just these characters being solo. I just love it. I love this so much. But then Lancelot starts to get cheeky to bring up what Percival said previously. Hey, maybe you hit the nail on the head there, buddy. Maybe those two really were starved for your attention that they decided to come here to vent out their rage against you. Getting all cocky that Percival left the 2 women that he is in a loving relationship with, basically wanted to come here and vent out that he left them or whatever to hold this crap that's going on previously. But Percival's like, hey, please, I get along with An and Naziennes, and both of them at the same time too. Dude, don't brag about having 2 girlfriends/wives at this point to your friends. We get it. You have threesomes. Barney, get the belt.
Just as sure as I had that 3-way. I am the greatest in the world!
Is that the 3-way belt?
You know it.
I feel like a man dying of thirst watching another man drown.
But Percival ends up giving us some confirmations of some things, as those 3 got along super well. As Percival says, well, I think we're going to see some new life spirits inside those 2 anytime soon. As the group's like, wait, what? Percival says, oh, well, I'm a life spirit, so I can tell. I think it'll be clear once we all get back. As Gawain and Tristan in the real saying, wait, hold on. Percival, this isn't the issue right now. What did you just say? Naziennes and An to both of them? As Percival just cheerfully says, yeah, looks like it. I might be a dad 2 times over next year. So Percival decides to casually drop that over their little, I believe, 2-week vacation, he got An and Naziennes pregnant at the same time, which means he's gonna have 2 kids by the next time skip. And not only that, but An and Naziennes were fighting without realizing that they were pregnant. So Percival just left and basically left these 2 in near-death situations. Naziennes almost died in the previous section of the story with Chaos Beasts basically pregnant, while An had to watch her basically on the verge of death. And he decided not to tell them. Percival is so carefree and still kind of stupid at the same time that he didn't think that would be vital information to tell them. Maybe they would have been more careful, or maybe they wouldn't have fought at all. Who knows? Either way, they would have fought anyway. it fits their character, so they'll fight and protect people, obviously. It's what Ann would do. She wouldn't care. She knows what she has to do. It's her responsibility. And Nazianz also has that responsibility to protect people as well. Still, would have been nice if Percival imagined, oh yeah, look, there are 2 life spirits growing within you guys. Looks like we're gonna have kids soon. Oy vey. Percival, you hopeful idiot. Anyway, we then get some nice comedic reactions of everybody, with Gawain just flying on the ground being like, dude, are you kidding me? I just can't win in my life right now. This airhead is a million steps ahead of me. Because remember, previously, Gawain wanted to have a relationship with somebody, to find someone that she can love. Now Percival has 2, and now he's going to be starting a family with those 2. Gawain is just utterly destroyed at this point. And Tristan is just off like the sensitive guy that he is, being like, oh, life spirits is right. Oh boy, Percival. And Lancelot just nonchalantly being like, I guess that makes sense. Man, you work fast. Percival obviously tells the group not to tell on Nazianz yet, which I like I said, he should have told them before leaving. But at the same time, I can kind of get Percival just wanting it to be a surprise, I guess, or to think that it's kind of private and that he shouldn't poke his nose into it. I'm trying to find a bit more logic here, I guess. Anyway, that aside, Gawain ends up trying to salvage the situation with her just shattered reality, and starts the book fun at Tristan saying, I guess it's your turn, huh, Tristan? As Tristan just non-stop blushing, saying like, I don't have any plans for that, we're not even married. I have to finish the mission first, and I want to respect Isolde's wishes too. As he tries to drag Lancelot into this situation, what about you, Lancelot? Now that we're talking about the possibility of kids now, what are you going to be up to? As Lancelot's just like, dude, don't throw me into this whole situation. I just love that Tristan is just so kind of innocent and pure of this shit, despite him literally taking the initiative to admit his love for Isolde and being the one to kiss her too. I wouldn't be surprised if those 2 had their own private time during and after the tournament. I feel like that is something that those 2 lovebirds could have done, but at the same time, with how Tristan is acting right now, he is either trying to hide the fact that perhaps he did the same thing with Isolde, or just doesn't want to think about kids yet because he doesn't want to jinx it. Multiple things over. But yeah, Tristan brings the situation, hey, Lancelot, what about you? What about you with kids and stuff like that? As Gawain hovers over Lancelot saying, you think this social misfit could woo anybody? As that kind of stings Lancelot for a sec. But Tristan says, oh, I bet you could though. You're popular with the ladies. Obviously referring to Lancelot's very weird and kind of complicated web of romance, I guess. With Lancelot saying, come on, man, she's 4 years younger than me. With Tristan like, what was that? With Lancelot just brushing this off to the side to try and move away from the subject as fast as humanly possible. Obviously, he's thinking of Guinevere in this aspect. He doesn't think of she who should not be named, but Guinevere. Now, the fact that he had to say this flat out has a few things. Either A, like after he visited her previously to give the talisman to teleport everybody out of Camelot, he is starting to develop some feelings for her, but he also knows that he shouldn't think about any of that stuff because she is way too young at this point. I mean, 4 years younger, but still, it is kind of weird. Even Lancelot can kind of think that it is not appropriate at least for him at this point or whatever. I don't even think he's really thinking of that possibility even. But I'm not going to linger on that for right now. Percival then begins to talk to Gawain of like, hey, what about you, Gawain? As Gawain is blushing bright red saying, I'd need to find a suitable partner first. Like maybe a man as strong and muscly as Balin? Not that I'm thinking of being with Balin or whatever, as everyone's teasing Gawain that she is blushing bright red right now. As she's like, okay, come on, let's just set up camp. As that's the last we see of the 4 knights for this time, as literally the identities of these knights begin to divulge into them talking about potentially having kids or not wanting kids, and Percival being a dad now. Now I'm going to address another elephant in the room, obviously. Gawain is seemingly catching feelings for Balin, whether they be romantic or just literal physical attraction. We don't fully know yet. But again, Merlin magicked away her seemingly affection for women. Now obviously there's no other confirmation that perhaps she could have like romantic feelings or attraction to women still, because she had those feelings beforehand, But the curse just stopped her from loving men, for having attraction for men. So she could still be attracted to women. It's very possible that all those like locked away feelings and attractions that she had for like 18 years of her entire life just bubbled up to the surface all at once, and she knows Balin and doesn't see him as like a brother like the other 4 knights, or very good friends like the rest of the 4 knights and everyone else in their group. So it's very possible that all those feelings are catching up to her at once, and she's basically just visualizing a male version of herself for an ideal partner, and just thinks Balin is the perfect person for her at this point, or at least someone like him. Who knows? But it also kind of makes sense for Gawain to want someone to just be literally strong if she wants to have a partner, and is just thinking of the muscles that Balin has. She can go muscly and buff as well, so that also kind of makes sense for some of her priorities. It is still kind of controversial that Nakaba did this just so she can be physically attracted to Balin, and so he can probably ship her off to have an actual relationship with someone, with a man. I know there are a good amount of LGBTQ plus viewers and fans of this series that were looking at Gawain for some sort of representation, and it is kind of a shame. Then again, there's always a possibility that she could be bi. I just have to bring this up now because obviously this is kind of the elephant in the room with this pseudo-confession of attraction to Balin now. But let's not talk about Gawain and all that stuff again for a good long while, because right now we're cutting back to the Knights of the Holy Grail. They're all in another floating island wasteland, as the ranger knight with the archer bow says that there's not a soul for miles, and the knight with On's techniques this way will spot them if they move so much as an inch from this location. So it looks like they found the best vantage point in case the 4 knights move and begin to leave the area. The archer says, "You think they're still in this crazy world?" With the sorcerer, now with their helmet off, obviously showing that she is a woman, says, "King Arthur said they'd be here a while. They have a mission, apparently." Now this is very interesting on what amount of information that they know. The Oni mask character just dropped the mask, with the Spear Knight walking up, who is revealed to be a man seemingly, says, "What's up next for us then?" As he's referring to the knight with the Oni mask, as he's wondering why they're asking him. The knight with the spear says, "Hey look, why not? You are the youngest among us, but you're clearly the most talented." As in the final page of the chapter, we get our full face reveal of the Oni mask character and the name drop, as they reveal that this is Galahad. And he has a strong resemblance to Lancelot. But not just Lancelot, he literally looks so much like Bond. Primarily the way his eyes are shaped and shaded. He looks more like Bond than Lancelot. Only difference is the dark hair. And with this final page, and with what we got so far, and obviously the knights talking about the potential of having kids and wanting to have kids and who their partners are, this reveal of Galahad, in Arthurian legend, supposed to be stronger than Lancelot or on Lancelot's level, has been revealed, confirming that this group of knights, or at the very least one of them, are the children of the 4 Knights of the Apocalypse from a distant future or some parallel world. With this confirmation, this arc has now gotten even more interesting, and I am so curious to see what this could lead into. Why do they think that the 4 Knights are fakes, or even doppelgangers for all we know? Why are they here? How are these potential future children of the 4 Knights here in the present? And what is King Arthur wanting them to fight them, and apparently the fact that they are here on some sort of mission? What does this Arthur know? Is this the real Arthur? Is it Kath? Is this someone else? I don't know, and I am so curious. But once again, depending on how this plotline develops, this could also be a big fumble on how it is properly explained in order to fit more into the story in the universe. But at the same time, I can't wait for this drama, and also I like the confirmation of the fact that Anna and Aziens are pregnant. I do hope this doesn't take them out of the action when they come back into the story later on. And I really do hope that with Gawain and everyone else, when they have the thoughts of having kids, we don't jump to them being more grizzled adults for a little bit now. I know it's been about 100 chapters since the time skip, but I do want to stick with this version of the 4 Knights for a bit longer because their dynamic is so great and I really do enjoy it. But you guys let me know in the comment section down below what you think of these knights being revealed. to be potentially the children of the Four Knights of the Apocalypse from the future? How do you feel about the reveal of Naziennes and An being pregnant, Gawain having attraction to Balin, and all the other stuff? Let me know in the comments down below, and once more, if you haven't already, like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. Helps a lot and shows you guys enjoy the content on the channel and shows you want to see more. And also, I don't really plug this at all really anymore, but it's tough times for me at this point. I have a Patreon. If you want to support the channel more directly, go over there. I'm going to be starting to slowly upload some other videos that aren't chapter reviews up there. I have about 3 to 4 what I like to call limbo videos I have privated on the channel that I have no idea when to upload, or I don't think is the right time to upload, and I'm going to put them on Patreon over the next coming weeks. Like a Shaman King blind reaction, I have 2 videos on that I have not posted because I had to take a break from reading it, and I didn't want to post it and just go away from it for, at this point, a year and leave you guys hanging. So if you want to see my initial reactions to Shaman King's manga, I'm going to have each part coming out over the next constant weeks, as well as another manga reaction video as well as some other stuff that I haven't uploaded here on the channel for the time being. So if you haven't already, go and check that out. I do on a Patreon, very worth it for you guys, and Patreon's going to help me with other videos I have planned to make, because before the year ends, I want to make a lot more videos that you guys will enjoy, and some more larger videos that I've been putting on the back burner due to time and, well, budgetary constraints. But that's all I gotta say for you guys. Hope you all enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and I hope you all have an awesome day.